What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. You guys probably recognize Eric here from RevMatchTV. He's got another YouTube channel. Go check it out if you haven't already. And we are here for the brand new Toyota Supra, the 2020 Supra. You just picked this car up recently. It's got just under 3,000 miles. We're going to take it for a spin, see how it does up here in the canyons. But first of all, I want to get your thoughts about the buying process of this car. Not only like your personal experience going out of state and picking up this car, but also, how did you determine that you wanted this car, especially given all the other options in the marketplace at this price range?
So this is a car that was actually pretty difficult to get a hold of. There's 1,500 launch editions, which this is not, because I want it yellow. The launch edition only comes in black, red, and white.
Okay.
And, I want a yellow one specifically because I gotta have a fun color.
Yeah.
Toyota has been releasing these cars really, really slowly. For the West Coast, they go to the Port of Los Angeles, and unfortunately, these cars have been sitting at port because there isn't enough staff there to release them quickly. So
Really?
These cars have been trickling out. They're not a limited production car, but there's just over 1,000 sold in the first 2.5 months of production.
Wow.
So I wanted a yellow one, and if you're in California, all the dealers want significantly over MSRP.
So how much markup do you think there is? Right
they were asking $20,000, $15,000 markup.
$20,000.
For a non-launch edition, which is ridiculous.
Wow.
So I'm taking this car to SEMA. I'm going to modify it, and I needed to get the car ready and make my sponsors happy. I needed to get the car.
Yeah.
So I decided to fly to Iowa. There's a video on that, pretty funny. Flew all the way to Iowa, picked up the car, found it last minute, while the car I had here ordered was still sitting in port after 30 days, still in port, and drove it all the way across the country because I wanted to pay MSRP.
Yeah.
Who wants to pay Who wants to pay more than MSRP for the car? I think it's worth every penny of MSRP, but not over.
Not more, right.
It has the premium package, which is $4,000, and it has the driver assist package, which is I think $1,200, and then there's $950 of destination fee. So, $56,900, I think it is.
And that's fully loaded.
All the options are on it.
All
fully
the
loaded.
options.
So the premium package over the base, there's no difference from a mechanical perspective. It has the same engine, same transmission,
LSD,
all the mechanical stuff is the same, except the rear rotors are 5% bigger on this on the premium. I don't know why that is.
That seems insignificant, but okay.
Yeah, but what you get with the premium is you get wireless Apple CarPlay, you get wireless charging, you get navigation, you get the upgraded JBL audio system.
Okay.
There may be a difference in the seats, I'm not sure. There may be a difference in the trim with the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not sure, but there's no mechanical difference. So $50,000 will get you a base Supra with, all of the performance stuff that you want.
Okay. I have to say, just initial impressions just sitting in this car, I think it does feel like a $50,000 to $55,000 car. I mean, it's got nice materials everywhere. The steering wheel's really nice, actually. It does feel kind of like a BMW steering wheel in terms of just the materials. But overall, it's very driver-oriented. I will say, a lot of the early reviews said the car felt cramped on the interior. I would have to agree. I mean, I'm only 5'7", and not a huge amount of space. I'm not a huge fan of these pop-out screens, but all the cars are doing them nowadays.
iPad on a dash.
iPad on a dash, exactly. And you said the base model, it's the same hardware except the inside of the LCD itself is smaller.
The bezel is the same, but you get a 6.6-inch display in the base. This is 8.8. So.
Okay. So there's another reason to not get a base, because your screen's just going to look absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
So the car has the B58 motor, which I know you've been doing a lot of homework on that and how to tune it in the future.
There's a very, very good video from Papadakis Racing, and by the way, he's going to be on my channel soon. He tears down the engine, complete teardown, and he's also building it up to build 1,000 horsepower.
Oh, I have seen that video.
So if you want to check out all the specifics, go check out Papadakis Racing, and I'm going to interview him in a couple weeks too. So.
That was a super detailed teardown video.
Yeah.
So cool, let's take it for a drive and see how it does.
All right.
It's not super low, is it?
No, not yet. That'll be next week.
See, that's not even full throttle. That's pretty quick, though. You're right, there's absolutely no turbo lag in this thing.
So Tada-san, the designer of this car, when he was asked what his favorite part of the car was, he said the exhaust note.
Really?
Yeah, and part of the reason for that is because of all the incoming noise regulations globally.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult to make a car sound this good in the future.
Right.
And also we've got all this electrification and hybridization and stuff like that coming too. So this is, probably the last, pure front engine rear-wheel drive non-electrified Supra is my guess.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised at all. The compliance is actually really, really nice. I would say compared to 2016, which is the first gen M2 that we drove, what was that, last year?
Yep.
This car rides better. Hands down, it rides better. Even though we have it in the sport mode right now. Car certainly doesn't lack grip. Wow, that's quick. Such linear response from the engine, wow.
So what BMW has done in this generation of the B58 engine compared to like the N55, which was on the M2 that we tested,
right?
This has an air-to-water intercooler integrated into the intake manifold.
Okay.
And so they've tried to shorten the the pathway that the air needs to take to get into the intake as quickly as possible. Yeah, like these are making 340s to the wheels.
Yeah,
stock.
Way more than the rated 335 crank.
On a Mustang dyno and other dynos too. I'm getting fuel economy numbers. I drove across the country. I peaked at like 31.
Okay.
And just driving around the city and stuff, and I'm not light on the throttle. I'm getting 26.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
That's really good. For this level of performance, anything above, honestly, like 21, 22 would be pretty impressive.
Yeah, in my 1M I get like 17 in the
city.
So I'm getting like almost 10 miles a gallon.
Oh, I can just feel when I get on the gas, even half throttle coming out of corners, it just wants to rotate.
Oh yeah.
That's so nice. It looks like the stability control and or the LSD settings allow for a little bit of that too, even though they're still on, we're just in sport mode.
They are 4-piston Brembo brakes up front. Without the Brembo branding, I'm thinking Toyota doesn't want to pay the money for that. Or the rears are single pistons. So far, I've not had any complaints about the brakes.
Okay. I know Jackie Dang, another YouTuber who tracks his Supra, he was running just stock brakes with pads, and he was doing just fine.
Yeah, he was running pads from Counter Space Garage, which is a custom compound that they develop, which seems to be pretty good in the track environment.
It's holding up just great for him, and he drives like a madman, so it's good enough for him. It's probably good enough for 99% of people out there.
Right, and so you probably know that Jackie Dang, famously wrecked his Supra.
I hated seeing that.
But now, if you watch YouTube, you know that Albin Films Guff has purchased
that same car, right?
The same car, and they are doing the world's first wrecked Supra, and he's going to turn it into a track car.
Oh my God. This car is borderline too quick for this road.
It's a surprisingly quick car.
Honestly, I can't go full throttle all too much. It's only going uphill.
Right.
Very BMW-like power band, I will say. I mean, obviously. I would say this one's even more mid-rangey than most BMWs.
Yeah, they've done a lot of work to reduce the lag as much as possible, make it very responsive, very fat, wide power band.
Yeah. And we've caught this minivan once again.
Ooh, there's a 348, 430, 360, or 430. This is a Ferrari festival going on here.
Sick.
488, another 430.
Some classic stuff
812.
too.
I think that was an 812. That was. Ooh, look at this.
Some California.
A
Camry.
In a Camry. Oh damn! Look at that blue.
He's keeping up with them. Right on their tail. What was it? Motor Trend or Road and Track or someone tested the 0 to 60 as 3.9 seconds for a car with 335 horsepower. That's front engine rear wheel drive. That's pretty insane, actually.
The 3.9 number seems pretty repeatable in a number of magazines have sort of gotten those numbers. The quarter mile times, stock people are getting 12.5 to 12.7 right out of the box.
That's quick.
The first 9-second Supra They had a video on it just a couple days ago. I don't remember who it is off the top of my head. They're running like 9.91 or something like that.
Wow.
You know, in the quarter mile.
Just so easy to tune, I guess.
And yeah, and people are getting into the 9s 3 months after the car's release.
Yeah.
And I know everybody loves the Mark IV Supra, and it's an awesome car, and yes, you can make 1,000 horsepower, but it took years to get that car into the 9s.
Right,
It
right.
took years to get to 1,000 horsepower.
This car's very pointy. The front end, even though it's a tail-happy car, the front end is just, it loves to dart around with minor steering input. The steering, while it does feel like BMW steering for the most part, in the fact that it's very direct, there's no slop in it, but there's not a whole lot of feedback. Very, very effective on a road like this. I wonder if, Toyota actually tried to tune the steering at all.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. They...
MR2.
Yeah.
Those exhaust cracks and pops are so crazy. Every time you lift.
I love it.
This car's a riot, man.
It's a really, really entertaining car to drive.
For the first time ever, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I'm not missing the lack of a manual transmission. This 8-speed ZF, it's so responsive. And I've driven cars with this transmission before, but they've never been tuned to this level. I think there were older, I guess, variants of that ZF. Let's go full throttle. Full beans. The rear it steps out like not even 1 degree, just a quarter of a degree, but that's all you need. The suggestion of oversteer is there.
It'll step out more if you
I'm sure
turn
it
off
will,
traction control.
Yeah. Well, I am loving this car so far. Even on this very imperfect road, the car just soaks it up so nicely.
The body roll is, I think it helps the driver in this case.
Absolutely. I was just talking about this in a previous video. I like having a little bit of body roll on a street car. It telegraphs how the car is reacting.
It gives you feedback, and there's another thing, which is the rate of body roll is important too. Like when you're a Miata, like an Indy Miata, it kind of just like flips over like a lot of body roll. The rate of body roll is quite high in that car. This is a little more measured, I think, than some cars, and that can be fine-tuned with dampers and so forth as well.
Yeah, I agree. This car just feels very cohesive as a package and very confidence-inspiring, which is surprising considering it's essentially a 380 plus horsepower, very short wheelbase, lightweight rear-wheel drive car.
So this is a 97.1 inch wheelbase. The Miata, for comparison, is in the low 90s, I want to say. So this is getting down to
close to Miata size.
Miata type wheelbase. It is a very short wheelbase. I mean, what do you think? Does this feel like a 3,300 pound Miata with a big engine?
Sort of does. That's kind of a good way to put it. Like a heavier Miata that's still very nimble and tuned the way a Miata is tuned. I mean, it's got, like you said, it's got body roll, albeit this body roll is more controlled than this, than the ND. Very quick turn in, just with double the power.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of... That's
exactly
sort of how I feel like it is. That everybody complains about the lack of power in the Miata.
Right.
So
there's no lack of power in this thing.
Basically double the price of a new Miata.
Right.
And more than double the power.
All right, I'm excited to go uphill now.
Yeah.
It's gonna be way more fun. Alright, how does it feel sitting passengers? Is it pretty fast?
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's a pretty quick car. Way back, I talked to Tada-san before the car was released. I got a chance to talk to him for a couple of minutes.
Awesome.
And, I asked him what was the target for this car. And he said, Porsche.
Porsche, that one word,
He said Porsche, and I said, which one? He's like, I wouldn't say, but, more recently in interviews, he said
Cayman,
the Cayman, is the target. For this car in terms of just the overall packaging and the driving feel and all that. And so you've got the base Cayman at $59,000.
Right.
You've got this at $50,000. For the base. You've driven the base new 981. What's your take on, or have you?
I haven't driven 981, but I think you mean 718, right?
Excuse me, the 718. Yeah, the 718, the 4-cylinder, base Cayman. What's your take on the overall experience for $9,000 less?
Well, that's a very good question. I'm glad you brought that up, because that is, as you said, Tada-san stated that the base 718 Cayman, or maybe even the Cayman S, is the target for this car from a performance level, from a driving pleasure level, probably even from like a refinement level. And I would say, compared to the 718 Boxster that I drove, I've never driven the Cayman, this feels, honestly, 90% as premium on the inside. That's one of the few things that's actually pretty shocking to me, because it is a Toyota, and Toyota typically means, they skimp out on the interior.
Cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the refinement, not only of the interior quality, but also the ride comfort. That's probably my favorite thing about this car right now from driving it. I expected the engine performance to be pretty ridiculous and the chassis to be very capable, and those are absolutely, they met my expectations. But the suspension quality on this utterly crap road is actually really, really impressive, and I think that's where it really does compete with Porsche very well, because that's one of Porsche's bread and butter, aspects when it comes to driving dynamics, is building sports cars with suspension that not only does well at the racetrack, but also is very livable on a daily basis.
Right, and they've, Porsche has been refining the same formula over and over and over and over for decades and decades. This is a brand new car.
Brand new car, and it's already up there, I would say, trading blows with the Porsche.
For an opening shot,
this is fantastic for a first shot.
This is pretty good for a first shot.
I mean, I was really lamenting the lack of a manual transmission early on, but maybe this is the first car that I'm like, you know what? I get it. This 8-speed auto is just so good. It's so good.
Yeah, I'm such a hardcore manual purist, and I haven't said anything.
Yeah.
And basically what you said sort of echoes what I feel too, because I love my manuals. I've really never,
Same here.
I just love driving a manual transmission.
Yeah.
Art from European Auto Group. Autosport. I'm sorry, Art. I know you're watching this. Sorry, Art. I don't know the name of your company properly, but he's doing the first manual swap. On this car in Texas, and it's going to be at SEMA, and hopefully I'll get to check out the car. Hopefully I get to drive it.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. Go watch his videos. I'm going to do a video too about this thing. So go check that, and I'm going to link Art's video for European Auto Group.
There you go.
In the description for that one.
So stupid fast.
It is definitely much quicker in a straight line than the base. Yeah, the base Cayman. And the 1M.
Yeah, the base Cayman as well.
Yeah. The Cayman S in a straight line, they're probably pretty similar.
Close, right?
Probably pretty close, but this sounds so much better.
This sounds so much. Yeah, I love the 718 from a chassis perspective, and the steering and all that stuff is great, but the engine just sounds so bad, like just straight up bad.
I just can't get into it.
Yeah, it's not a Porsche sound.
It sounds great for a 4-cylinder, but
yeah, but at the end of the day, you don't want a 4-cylinder in a Cayman.
Pulls pretty hard, doesn't it?
Even the top end is just, it's all there. The torque curve just feels flat. From 1,000 all the way up to almost 7,000, it's just flat.
I was at Supra's in Vegas last weekend, and I actually had the pleasure of going out to dinner with Toyota, and they talked to us extensively about the early owners, about our thoughts, on the cars. And one of the questions was, what modifications are you going to do to your car?
Oh, that's so awesome.
So they are encouraging it. They are trying to develop the aftermarket, and I really appreciate that, because that's what gets longevity in a car, is when you have a strong aftermarket.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons for the huge success of the Mustang, is there's such a good aftermarket for that car, and Ford does encourage that as well. But then you go to Porsche, and it's like, I don't know if you want to. We made it perfect.
Right. Andreas is just like, we made this car perfect from the factory. Don't even bother. And he kind of does have a point.
And that's amazing. Too. So. But I think having a long history of a car that's I'm hoping, and I'm pretty sure this car is going to be around for a while, different iterations. Having a strong mod community for that is important. So that's really the reason why I bought this car, so I can get it out and mod it and just make it my own.
Customize it.
I know 12 or 16 owners with this car now. I'm the only one that has it stock, and just because I haven't started yet.
Right. Because you only had it 2 weeks.
I've only had it 2 weeks, so I'm starting to mod it, next week with feel suspension.
Nice. Maybe I'll try a little standing start.
Sure. Yeah, give it a shot.
Oh, you're right. Pull the paddle when it hits 5, and it shifts right before it gets to 6.
Yeah.
It's seamless. Okay, so my only complaint about the car is now nullified. But I guess I'm more curious about just how coilovers will feel. I just feel like this is one of those cars where the dampers, if you're going to put coilovers, have to be really top notch in order to kind of maintain some of that daily drivability.
Yeah, no, that's something I'm interested to see what feel is going to do with that. Now, I haven't driven this car on track yet, but a number of my friends have, and one of the complaints on track is it's a little bit soft. We'll see how that goes with the feel suspension, because I am going to be taking it on track.
Well, I gotta say, Eric, this has been an absolute pleasure. I can't believe I'm saying this. There's so many things I can't believe I'm saying in this video, but I enjoyed driving this more than I enjoyed your 1M.
Wow.
And that has been like kind of a halo BMW for me for a long time, and when I drove it I was blown away. But this is like better. Objectively better. It's also just, I think it's more fun, even without the 3 pedals and the H pattern.
Yeah, I can't wait to drive them back to back, because
Yeah.
I've only hopped out of one and hopped into the other. That's going to be a really good test to do. I'm looking forward to that.
You should do a video on that.
I know. I just need to find the time after SEMA to do that.
Right. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think of the Supra, especially if any of you guys have driven it. Do you guys agree that maybe it is better than BMW's own sports cars at this point? Or is it, is it a Cayman killer? Let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.